Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn about the Indian Constitution. So we'll be in demand for Constitution and composition of the Constitution Constituent Assembly, and then we'll be moving to Preamble. There we'll learn about the various terms which are used in the Preamble. So firstly, the demand for the Constitution in 1934, M.N. Roy was the first person uh, to bring the idea of constitution. In 1935, Indian National Congress officially demanded for the Constituent Assembly. In 1938, Nehru declared that the Constitution of Free India must be framed without outside interference, that is, the British and the foreigners, by Constituent Assembly elected on the basis of adult franchise. So, the first step for the constitution was to create a constituent assembly. Um, the demand was also accepted by the British. This is called the Offer of 1940. So the British said after the World War II, after completion of the World War II, uh, you will be getting the assembly through which you can make your constitution. That is what their idea. Um, the Constituent Assembly originally consisted of 389 seats. Uh, First, the Constituent Assembly was set on November 1946. So, out of these 389 seats, 296 were to be filled by the British India, that is, the provinces which are ruled by the British Crown, and 93 seats to be filled by the local princely states. So the Constituent Assembly was not fully elected and fully nominated. We can say that it is partially elected and partially nominated body. So these 296 seats, which is to be filled by the election in British Crown India areas. This election was held in July to August 1946. Other princely states, they were rejected this idea of constitution, and they declined 93 seats which were reserved for the princely states. So out of these 296 seats which were to be filled by the British princely states, INC, that is Indian National Congress, won 208 seats. Muslim League won 73 seats. Other parties won 15 seats. So the main important point here is Mr. Mahatma Gandhi was not participated in this assembly. He is not a member of the Constituent Assembly. First meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on December 9th, 1946. There, Muslim League boycotted this meeting because they wanted a separate constitution for their region. That is, they wanted to separate from the India. They wanted a separate country for Muslim people. So that is how Pakistan was created. So totally 211 members were attended this assembly on 9th December 1946. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was elected as a temporary president, that is pro tem speaker of this Constituent Assembly. After that, as we all know, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as president for the Constituent Assembly, and H.C. Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamachari were the presidents of the assembly. So on 13th December 1946, Mr. Nehru presented um, objective resolution. Objective resolution is nothing but the main features and the main purpose of this Constituent Assembly, and what will be the philosophy of this constitution that we are going to uh, establish. So he declares India as independent, sovereign, and republic, and all states of the British India and outside places of India can be constituted in Indian Union. All power and authority of independent India derived from the people. Safeguards shall be provided for minorities, backward and depressed classes. So these are the features uh, in the objective resolution of Mr. Nehru. So after that, the British created another constituent assembly for making a constitution for Pakistan. After the partition in 1947, the seats were declared from 389 to 299. The seats were decreased. The last meeting of the constitution was also held on January 24th, 1950. So there are some important committees. Uh, so there are 8 major committees and some other minor committees. The first major committee was Union Powers Committee. The chairman of this committee was Jawaharlal Nehru. The second is the Union Constitutional Committee, which is headed by the Jawaharlal Nehru again. Provincial Constitution Committee, headed by Sardar Patel. Drafting Committee was headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas was headed by Sardar Patel. Rules of Procedure Committee was headed by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. States Committee for Negotiation with States was headed by Jawaharlal Nehru. Steering Committee was headed by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. These are the major committees, and now we'll be moving to the preamble. We'll start the preamble now. We'll be dealing with the important terms and their references in the Constitution of India. Now we'll be going to discuss about the preamble of the Indian Constitution. So the preamble is nothing but the basic. The preamble contains the basic features of the Indian Constitution. So it is like an ID of the Indian Constitution. In I'll read the preamble once. Then we'll be discussing the each word separately. So, we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So, the first word we are going to discuss about is this sovereign. The word sovereign is nothing but India is free to decide its internal as well as external policies. So, if the government of India wanted to make any law relating to any part of India, it is not dependent on any person or any country, any other country, it, in which so it can make its own laws without any interference from the outside. This word was reflected in the constitution in provisions of part 9 of Constitution of India. This is COI, Constitution of India. So Article 246 reads as power of Parliament and state legislature to make laws for the whole or any part of the territory, India, and whole or any part of the state, respectively. So the parliament has power to make whole or any part of the Indian territory. So for any part or total territory, the parliament can make laws for this, and the state legislature can make laws for this whole or any part of the state. So Article 51 promotion of international peace but without compromising sovereignty. So there is a responsibility to promote peace among the international stage, but this does not mean that India has to compromise its sovereignty. Okay, this can be done without compromising the sovereignty of the nation. The next word is socialist. This word was added by the first 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. Three types of governments, um, which can be broadly divided. So, for the first one is socialist. In the socialist economy, all the sectors of the economy are fully under control of the government. So, government has the supreme control over the all the sectors, and the other one capitalistic. So, in the capitalistic economy, the government is having minimum control, very minimum control over the economy. The best example for the socialistic economy was the Soviet Union, and the capitalistic country is USA. So, um, instead of taking any one of these economies, we made a hybrid model of these economies. In our model of socialistic India, we are going to have control over some parts of the sectors, some sectors of the economy, and the other sectors are freed for the private sectors. Okay, this is what the socialist means. So, and these are the articles which are supporting this socialistic ideology. Article 38 of the Directive Principles of State Policy, that is part 4 of the Indian Constitution. Article 38 reads as promote welfare of the people and minimize inequalities. So it uh, it is making the government responsible for promoting welfare of the people and minimizing inequalities. To make this to promote welfare and minimize inequalities, the government is needed some control over the economy. So that is how the socialistic ideology is upheld. And the Article 39 speaks about secure adequate livelihood, prevent concentration of wealth. So if the total wealth of the country is in the hands of few, then the other people will be suffering with poor, hunger or other calamities. Okay, this is what it is means. So it is the responsibility of government for decentralization of mm, monetary decentralization, that is the wealth is to be distributed among all the people equal. Some fundamental rights of the part 3: equality before law, abolition of untouchability, prohibition of exploitations, these are also support the socialistic ideology. The third word, secular, also added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. Um, the word secular means state has no official religion, equal respect for all faiths. That is, the state is not discriminating one religion over the other. Okay, and the state, that is the country, has no official religion. So it has to treat every religion as equal. So in fundamental rights, Article 14, equality before law. Article 15, no discrimination on grounds of religion. The first word is religion. So no man can be discriminated on the basis of these grounds. Okay. And Article 25 to 28 gives you the right to freedom of conscience, profess, practice, propagation of religion of which you wanted to. So there is no restriction uh, on the practice of your religion, your faith. Okay, this is what secular means. The other word democratic. So unlike the other countries, like in some countries still the rulers are hereditary. Okay, they, if the father dies, then the son will be ruling the country. But in India, all the represent all levels of representatives are elected directly. We elect our representatives to represent ourselves in the legislature. Okay, for example, in state legislature we elect MLAs to represent ourselves. Okay, in parliament we elect member of Lok Sabha. Okay, that is member of parliament. We elect MPs as our representatives to represent ourselves in the constitution. This which reflects this democratic ideology. The next one is republic. If you see in UK, the the head of the state is the crown. Okay, and the crown is a monarch, that is hereditary. Recently the queen died. Then her son became the king of the state, that is head of the state. Okay, but India, we elect our head of the state through electoral college. Okay, that is we elect MLAs, MPs, and they elect on our behalf the president of India. So there is no hereditary rule in India. Justice, social, economic, political. So the justice is going to be social reasons. The justice is like equality, prohibition of discrimination, equal opportunities, abolition of untouchability, prohibition of human trafficking, forced labor, promotion of welfare of the people, and minimize inequalities, promote educational and economic interests of the SCs, STs, and other weaker sections. So these are the provisions in the Indian Constitution, uh, which which promises us the justice of social nature, and this is the economic nature of justice. So adequate means of livelihood for all, prevent concentration of wealth. We discussed it earlier. So we'll be discussing all these articles one other time, when we'll be studying the respective parts of the constitution in which they're enshrined. So for Article 14, we'll be studying in the fundamental rights, part 3 of the constitution. We'll be studying it very deeply. So for now, just I'm making you understand in very simple terms. Equal justice and free legal aid. This is the A. See, if 39 small a 13, if it is 39 small a, we can say this small a is the integral part of the 39th article. But if there is the article 39 and capital A, this capital A means this article was brought by a constitutional amendment. Okay, this capital A means this is a separate article. Now, the political justice guarantees equal political rights and participation in governance. Key provision: no person to be ineligible for inclusion in electoral rolls on grounds of religion, race, caste, or sex. Okay, so these cannot be grounds for the disqualification of a person for participating in electoral rolls. Okay, 326 speaks about the universal adult suffrage, which is the minimum age for a person to vote. Initially, this was 21 years. Um, in the year of 1988, if I am correct, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi brought an amendment to the Constitution of India, and decreased the age for voting from 21 years to 18 years. Okay, so freedom of speech, assembly, and association essentials of for political participation. So, these are the provisions which reflects the the justice, liberty of thought expression, belief, faith, and worship. mm, Protects individuals autonomy. That means uh, liberty liberty does not mean to apply for this whole society. It will apply for yourself. You can do it, is it in your own purpose. Okay, thought and expression, belief, faith, personal liberty, association and assembly, movement and residence, occupation. So these are the liberties uh, which were provided, and which which will be reflecting the term liberty in the preamble. These liberties, there are some safeguards and remedies which were also provided by the constitution itself. So if someone has deprived from his liberty, then person can move to the Supreme Court High Court seeking judicial um, you know judicial remedies. Okay, the directive principles uh, and liberty. Well, DPSPs are non-justiciable. That is, you cannot move to the court for implementation of DPSPs. They create conditions for real liberty. So they'll provide you some conditions in which you can exercise your liberty. Okay, equal justice and free legal aid, right to work, education and public assistance, free and compulsory education for children. So these are the DPSPs, which reflects the liberty. Reasonable restrictions. Okay, so even though the constitution gives you the liberty of the above side rights, that is liberty of thought and expression, freedom of belief and faith, freedom of personal liberty, freedom of association and assembly. These are the rights given by the constitution for every person. Although then there are some restrictions to these liberties or freedoms. Okay, so these rights are not absolute. um, we, it is balanced with public order, morality, security and the rights of other. For example, article 9 clause 2 to article 19 clause 6 allows restrictions on speech, assembly, movement, etc. in the interests of sovereignty, integrity, public order, decency, morality, etc. So this is the uh, this is the restriction over the liberty. If you abridge these no these provisions, then you'll be deprived of your liberty. Okay, article 22 is another exception for the liberty, and judicial expansion of liberty. Okay, we'll be reading this all in upcoming sessions. Another term is equality. So status, equality of status and opportunity. So equality is nothing but removing all the discriminations. The rights of equality were enshrined in the Constitution in Part 3 of the Constitution, which are fundamental rights. Article 14 to 18 of the third part of the Indian Constitution lays down provisions relating to equality, with some reasonable exceptions, which we are already uh, known about. We previously talked about the exceptions, uh, like this here, reasonable restrictions. So the same will be implemented here. The another word, fraternity. Fraternity, dignity, unity, and integrity promotes national integration and mutual respect. So fraternity is nothing but, even though the India is divided into various parts like states, various states. It is, at the end of the day, it is one nation. Okay, it is this word which promotes the integrity, the feeling of unity. Okay, the fraternity promotes the unity of the nation. So that is it. Thank you.